So, students, today we are going to discuss the rest of medications which were left. First of all, pioglitazones or glitazones, which is an anti-diabetic drug, and it actually affects or activates PPAR gamma and PPAR alpha receptors. And through activation of these receptors, it increases insulin sensitivity and it improves our lipid profile as well. For example, decrease in triglyceride, increase in good cholesterol, HDL cholesterol, and decrease plasma fatty acid level. So they are also called insulin sensitizers. Then glucagon-like peptide analogs, which is also called incretin. It's a natural substance in our body, but we give it from outside because it has got good effects on our diabetes. It increases secretion of insulin, decreases glucagon, decreases gastric emptying, decreases GI motility, and it also brings satiety, and it also causes decreased water intake. So these are glucagon-like analogs, which are exenatide and liraglutide. So these are the two drugs. We can combine different anti-diabetic drugs in different ways. First of all, we start with monotherapy, and that monotherapy is metformin. Metformin is chosen because it is cost effective and it does not produce hypoglycemia. But if our HbA1c, the desired HbA1c is 6.5, it rises to 7, then we have to add a second drug. That can be sulfonylurea, that can be DPP4 inhibitor, gliflozin or glitazone. Then sulfonylurea plus DPP4 can also be combined. Gliflozins plus DPP4 will also be combined. Any combination can work. We have to take this thing in mind that two anti-diabetic drugs causing hypoglycemia, they should never be combined. Like sulfonylureas, they also produce hypoglycemia, and insulin, it also produces hypoglycemia. So it will be dangerous if we add these two drugs. If still HbA1c is not on desired level, we can add third drug. This third drug, it can be insulin, and if insulin is contraindicated because of any reason, for example renal failure, or patient is obese, insulin, it causes further weight gain, so we can add glucagon-like peptide. Usually glucagon-like peptide, they are also added if patient is quite obese, because they have special effects of decreasing weight if BMI is greater than 35. But sometimes if BMI is less than 35, we again can use it if insulin is contraindicated. But it is continued for 3 months, and we see, is there any 1% decrease in HbA1c or 3% weight loss? If these two targets, they are not achieved, glucagon-like peptide, they are stopped. Their most common side effect is nausea, vomiting, and in some patients they can lead to pancreatitis. So one difference between 4 inhibitors and our incretin or glucagon-like peptide is this, that glucagon-like peptides, they are usually naturally produced in our body. When we ingest oral carbohydrate, in response to that, incretin is released, and this is called incretin effect. Now, if we give glucagon-like peptide from exogenous source, it also has the same effect as that of endogenous glucagon-like peptide, and it helps in controlling diabetes mellitus. While if we administer DPP4 inhibitor, the DPP4 is an enzyme which actually causes breakdown of this endogenous glucagon-like peptide. So when inhibitor of this enzyme will be given, obviously breakdown of glucagon-like peptide will be decreased, hence its level will be increased. So purpose of both drugs is to increase the level of glucagon-like peptide, and so that it can produce good control of diabetes. Side effects of glucagon-like peptide, they have already been discussed. As far as thiazolidine derivatives, that is glitazone, they are concerned, they produce liver toxicity or fluid retention, so they are contraindicated in cardiac failure. As far as the gliflozins are concerned, which are sodium potassium co-transport inhibitors, they should be given if a patient has got a cardiac condition. For example, he is having ischemic heart disease or heart failure. In that, the drug of choice for controlling diabetes, it becomes gliflozins.